Now, if we are given two linear equations in two variables here, x and y, then we can use a very shortcut, very direct method of finding the value of x and y without actually doing any elimination or substitution. And these are the formula for doing that. So x is given by this formula, okay, and the coefficients here are very, very simple. So the first equation, the three coefficients are a1, b1 and c1. The second equation, we'll say that the coefficients are a2, b2 and c2. So given a1, b1 and c1 and a2, b2, c2 are the three coefficients for the two equation, the value of x will be equal to this, okay. And we will if we can remember this formula, okay, or we can just derive a method for applying this formula visually, then we are all done, okay. So let's just try to use that. So the value of x, notice that in the numerator what we are doing is that we are multiplying c1 by b2. So we are doing this. So c1 goes to b2 and b1 is multiplied with c2, and of course those two are subtracted. And notice that we had just omitted, we are not even using the coefficients a1 and a2. The coefficients of x are not being used in the numerator for the x. Similarly, the coefficients of y are not being used in the numerator for y, okay. So that is one thing to remember. And of course we are doing this cross multiplication. The first thing is that we start our arrow from c1, which is in the top right hand corner, and go to the bottom left hand corner, okay, right here. So that is how we will remember it visually. So this first, let's do that. So this becomes 5 3s are 15 minus 3 2s are 6 divided by, now what is the next step? What are we doing next? We are now doing a1 b2, which is, now we are using these two things. We are now using the coefficients of x and y. We are not even considering the coefficients of the constant coefficients. C1 and C2 are not factored in the denominator, and denominator remains the same both in case of x and y. So this is a1 b2, which is equal to 6 minus b1 a2, which is equal to 9. Okay, so this becomes 9 by minus 3, and this is nothing but equal to minus 3. Okay, so very easily, look how simply we were able to just come up with this value. So very important shortcut trick. Just you have to remember this visually, how we are going. Okay, so in the first case we went from here to here. Okay, so we are every time to find the value of x, we are reaching b2. Okay, in the numerator case we are going from c1 to b2. In the denominator case we are going from a1 to b2. Okay, so we are reaching the b2. That is to create our first term, and second term of course would come naturally in both the cases, in both the case of numerator and denominator. Now of course from here on we can use two things. Either we can substitute the value of x in one of these equations and find y, or we can find y from this formula. Of course we will not use the formula for y because we don't have to remember, we have to remember one less thing and simply substitute the value of x in one of the equations. The first equation actually appears simple to me, so that's what I will use, and this becomes 2 into x, which is equal to minus 6 plus 3y is equal to 5. This is from the first equation we can get. Okay, and then this means that 3y is equal to 11, or y comes out to be equal to 11 by 3. Okay, so again we are only using the one formula for x, and then the y we are finding using substitution. So it's not even two formulas we have to remember. We have to just remember one formula. So again, let's try to use this formula. So first what we'll do is now we'll just do it visually. We are going to not even look at this. Okay, so the thing to note here is that when we are finding the value of x, these two terms are not even taken into account in the case of numerator. So the numerator becomes, we'll just use this, we'll go to the y term here, and this becomes 10 into 2, which is equal to 20. This is the first arrow. Now this is the second arrow. This becomes 2 into 2, which is equal to minus 4, and divided by, now we are looking at the denominator. In the case of denominator, we of course have to go from, we always have to come to this term. So this becomes 3 2s are 6 minus, this is the first one, and then minus 2. So this will equal to 20 minus 4, this is equal to 16, and divided by 6 minus 2, which is equal to 4, and this comes out to be 4. Okay, now we substitute the value of x. So this was the value of x in the one of the equations. The second one looks very simple to me, so I am using that. So from the second equation I get 4 plus 2y is equal to 2, which implies that 2y is equal to minus 2, or y comes out to be equal to minus 1. Again, very simple, not complicated at all. Okay, just remember this formula visually, practice it with each question, and then with practice you will become master over it, and then of course you don't really have to think about elimination, substitution, nothing. You simply just look at the problem, you solve it, you get the answer. Okay, so of course, if you can remember this formula, and if you are confident, if you have done enough practice, then this is the preferred method for solving all kinds of equations. So again, the value of x, we will just do visually. These two coefficients are not considered in the numerator. We start from here, 32 into minus 3. Okay, so the coefficient, remember here it is minus 3. It is not just 3. Okay, we have to take the sign into account as well. Okay, so this x becomes 32 into minus 3. So this becomes minus 96. Okay, and this is minus again 4 into 11, which is equal to minus 44. And now we come to denominator. We'll just change the color of pen because I can do that. Okay, and then here what we do, we always come to this term for the first term, both in numerator and denominator. So this becomes 2 into minus 3, which is equal to minus 6. And of course the minus is there. Okay, minus is there, so that is why it's coming from 4 into 2. So this is minus 8. So solve this. 6 and 4 will be equal to 10. So 1 carry over, 9, 10 and 14. And what about the bottom, the negative sign? We should not forget that signs are very important, we know that. And this is equal to minus 14. If you simplify this comes out to be equal to 10. So x comes out to be 10. Very simple, nothing complicated. Now we substitute this 10 in the first equation. So the first equation becomes 2 into 10 plus 4y is equal to 32. Okay, so right here I can simplify it a little bit, but let's just we can cancel the 2's here. So this becomes 2 and this becomes 16. So now from here we can say 2y is equal to 16 minus 10, which is equal to 6, or this tells me that y will be equal to 3. Okay, so again, very simple. So just remember the first formula. You don't even have to remember it, just use the visual technique that we have told you. Use that visual technique, express the equations in the right form, then use the visual technique and solve for one of the variables, which is x. Just solve for the value of x and then use substitution to find the value of y. Okay, very simple. Thank you very much.